We are back. We are getting set up here. Waiting for people to get in here. But we are set up. Oh yeah. Alright, we got fucking people in here. Alright, what's up? Hey, I'm just listening to fucking radio so it's not like me in my own head in here, okay? I don't, if there's some nihilistic shit that comes, some nihilistic pop consumerism music that comes up, that's your world, it's not me, alright? Okay, so, what's going on? We are doing a T-Nex synth, the proper one. We tried to do, this is the deal, there was an earlier T-Nex synth attempt. It was, here, let's put this on actually. I'm going to mount, I got the camera mounted so that we can have a little bit, hopefully we're going to see if it's a little more stable. So we're going to put a mic in there and then let me know how this audio is. Let me know how that is. That's got like a microphone directly pointed at me. So it's probably better. In terms of audio. Test. Okay. Fuck it. Alright. I always get like, I'm like, hey, how's the audio? It's like fucking 10 different answers. I don't think you sound kind of gay. Alright, so. Alright, so here's the deal. We are doing a T-Nex synth. Short synopsis of T-Nex. It's also known as TMTN, or Tango Mike, Tango November. That would be like your trinitroso, what is that? Nitrosamine? Whatever. It's T-Nex, okay? Now to be known as T-Nex because the most recent shit is all T-Nex. What is T-Nex? T-Nex is a triazine with a with an NO added on instead of an NO2 on all of your 3 points. What does that do? Well, you're gonna get about I don't know, fucking. You're really close to RDX. I don't have my figures in front of me. I don't have the book in front of me. You're really close to RDX. I actually do have it in front of me. This is for people. That's fine. This is for people who missed the first one. Okay. So. In terms of some specs. From published, there's very little data published on T-Nex. And so that's what this exploration is kind of about. Okay, you've got it's supposed to have a melting point. I've got one report of 95C and another one from Lawrence. Melting point of 106 to 107C. So that's a discrepancy. Same compound, different reported melting point. There's probably only about 4 direct publications on synth. The rest of the publications are incidental. Like they discuss it incidentally. It's more for chemical remediation, toxic waste shit. So you got you got 150C, 150.5 C. That's your first exothermic event in calorimetry. And then you've got, it's releasing 3,267 joules per gram, -1 exponent. It's in line, it's very similar to the thermal decomp of RDX. How's their connection? How's the connection? Audio check. What? Audio check. It says they got a poor connection. I can't tell if this is going through. They fucking cut this shit off all the time. I mean, I don't have any. I would play Pig Destroyer, but I don't have a. This is just a walkie-talkie. That's a walkie-talkie, and I just hit the FM function. All right, so I still don't know if you're getting any sound. It's flashing at me that I have a shitty connection. I'm holding. I'm waiting so we don't waste the stream until I hear from you. All right, we got loud and we got Lee with Charlie. We're gonna Charlie Mike. All right. So it's in line with RDX, and the energy comes from the breaking of the two nitrogen bonds, right? So your center is a trizene with nitrogen attached to that is your NO. The breaking of those NN is where your initial onset of energy comes for detonation. In terms of I really should have wrote down a sensitivity video. I've got it on this phone. I didn't print it. So the fucking actually there might be some in here. Characterization. Okay, so this paper, and this is approximate to the other shit I've seen. So on an impact test with a BAM fall hammer, that's a semi-standard test. They're at 5 kilograms, which is a little heavier, but I'm sure they'll give a comparison. Yes, okay. So they got 5 kilogram BAM test. TNX less sensitive to impact, obviously, than RDX. RDX has a 50% go at 6 joules, whereas TNX is a 50% at 25 joules. So it's about 3.5 times less sensitive than RDX. Your power is approximate, okay. And the other thing to mention is that this is carcinogenous. So you wouldn't want to absorb this on your skin. These types of explosives, obviously you don't want to get them in your mouth anyway. If you get it absorbed through your skin, the immediate effect is that you're going to have a widening of the blood vessels, but especially this nitrosamine, because it'd be like amyl nitrite or something like that. But that's just kind of some background. So we did attempted a synth before, using kind of like this high-speed new method where you use citric acid. The reason that citric acid would be desirable is because if you did citric acid, then you're going to completely eliminate hazardous chemicals. You make your nitrous acid, which is the your nitrosating acid in situ, meaning that like the motherfucking container with all the shit in it generates it during stirring, right? So you don't actually have to have the shit beforehand. Now we attempted this synth, we being me, and you just watched on the fucking phone. I attempted this synth last night, but I was a smart guy and was thinking, I'll add acetic acid as the solution for carrying the citric acid, because citric acid is a solid, right? Citric acid is a powder. So me being a smart dude, I was like, well, fuck, if I'm gonna suspend it in water, why don't I make it more acidic and add acetic acid or cleaning vinegar, right? This is cleaning vinegar, stronger than regular vinegar, but it's a dilute acetic acid. Glacial acetic acid would be your strongest one. But because this entire thing is to make a completely OTC, fucking badass demo, right? And we're doing research on it because there's so little data of this shit. I've got to confirm all this shit. I've got to confirm what the fuck is going on here. I've got to confirm the both like impact sensitivity. I've got to figure out what his detonation characteristics are, critical diameter, how it goes from deflagration to detonation, all that shit. It should be extremely similar to RDX, and RDX is basically the bee's knees because you can do blasting caps. You can use it as a prime. You can use RDX as straight primary. You can use RDX as a secondary explosive. As a secondary explosive, it's a little bit sensitive. You typically gotta cut it, right? Or put it in a plastic, all right? So this should be approximate to that, and the basic, the added bonus should be that it's insensitive, TNX, that is, compared to RDX. And the secondary bonus is that the melting point should be lower than your decomposition where it off gases. So last night we did the Syth. I added the acetic acid like a smart kid. That was dumb because acetic acid actually stalls conversion into a proper TNX, and you get a secondary compound which is a dinitroso, which is far less energetic because it's missing an entire nitroso group. So what we had was probably from last night. What we had is probably a mixture of the dinitroso and the trinitroso. It was looking really good in terms of color. It was looking really good in terms of whipped cream on the ass. It was looking pretty good. But when I went through today and did temperature testing, or the temp testing was actually good, but it wasn't quite. It's really kind of under delivering in terms of just deflagration energy, confined and unconfined, and it didn't have. There was no melting point at all. Now the dinitroso, I found no data on that, so I have no idea what its melting point. We could identify for sure if it was dinitroso, if there was data on it, because if the melting points, presumably the melting points are going to be very different, and you can figure out what the fuck it was. But I don't have any of that shit. There's no data on dinitroso, so we just got to figure this shit out. Now, a couple things before we get started here. So I'm still going to use the drill press. I'm still going to use this fucking drill press. Fuck. I'm going to use this drill press. This cord right here, what I was using yesterday was a stainless steel. I'm not using that because for the Lawrence Syth, Lawrence Livermore Syth, you got to use hydrochloric acid. Okay, so this is still OTC. Hydrochloric is very common. It's typically found in the painting section of your store. Okay, it is a strong acid. So hydrochloric is, if you're not used to this, like if you have no idea what hydrochloric is, I want to talk about that for a second. Hydrochloric, the first thing you should understand is that it's a fuming acid. So I don't know if you can see the fumes coming off that. You don't want to breathe those. So if you breathe those fumes, you're gonna drop hydrochloric acid in your lungs ass. Okay? You don't want to do that. The way to handle acids, okay? So if you notice right back here, this is baking soda, okay? This is a base. This is an acid. If you spill acid on your hands or anything like that, if it's really bad, you can dunk your hands in some baking soda. You can get a bowl or whatever. I just keep open boxes over here. I just shove my fucking fish in there if I need to. A spray bottle with distilled water, that's what you want, because if you ever anything happens to your hands, now some people put the bicarbonate in the water. I don't do that because what ends up happening is temperature changes and shit. You'll get like solids in there and it blocks your feed. So I keep them separate. So the way I do it is if I got like, I've got acid on my hand. So I'm gonna spray my hand. It's getting all wet and shit. I'm gonna get plenty wet. That's gonna dilute it. Now this muriatic, when you buy muriatic, it's right at the maximal percent concentration. The reason it's fuming is because if it was any more, it'd just be gas. So you're probably like 35% or so, 34, when you buy that in the store. Other safety shit we're going to talk about. This is a pretty mild demo. I'm assuming. Now it's gonna be more energetic than the last one if we get it right. But the last one is so not energetic. Like I'll just do all the safety precautions, so you can see what extent I go through when I'm doing demo stuff. So you can just get an idea. So that when you're alone, if you're ever alone doing it, you're not like, am I a little bit over the top? You're not. If you fuck this up, if you fuck up demo, you're like, there's no comebacks. Okay. So it's not like there's no second chances. You have to do it right the first time, every single time. And if you fuck it up, that's it. There's no reset. Okay. So you really for yourself, you can't take it too seriously. Now instead of using a stainless steel wire for the stirring apparatus, now we're making a larger batch on this one because we were going to follow the Livermore laboratory paper identically. So everything's already been prepared. You can't use stainless steel because it will degrade with hydrochloric acid. So what am I using here? Well, I tried some different things. I'm reaching down right now into a dump bucket. So as I'm preparing all this shit, I have a dump bucket right there, and it's got like my hydrochloric acid dripper. It's got some shop towels and stuff. I've dumped some hydrochloric acid from containers in there. Like if I have a container that's dirty with hydrochloric acid and I don't want to hit myself with it on accident and expose myself to it, I just drop it in that container. And then you want to make sure that container is empty enough to take your reaction vessel if something fucks up, right? This one is pretty tame, so you're not really going to have anything. Other stuff, like if you're doing Bachman process, REX, or anything like that, ETN, especially ETN can be really dangerous to make. But you definitely want room in your dump bucket for your reaction vessel to dump it in there if there's time. You shouldn't make time, okay? So if it's not time, you just, if there's anything like fucked up, like if you're going to expose it to heat or something like that, or if you see spark or flame, anything like that, there's no time. So like if you ever see a spark or smoke or heat, right? That means there's no time. That means you need to, you should already have objects between you and the reaction. But if you don't, that means you turn and go. Like you just leave it, right? Like you let the motherfucker burn down, or whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. Hopefully you're smart enough to set up everything before, so that you're not gonna have like a chain reaction of like fire and shit like that. It should be like you should be able to have some fucked up shit going on and should be relatively okay because you already moved everything hazardous out of the way and made it so the fire is just gonna consume itself and go out. That'd be a smart way to do it. Now, because the fucking HCl eats stainless steel, I'm using I tried some different things, okay, and I did a test. So this right here is a test. That's a little beaker right there. That's a little beaker with some hydrochloric acid, and inside you got PLA filament for a 3D printer. So the same filament that you use in most 3D printing applications is very common, very cheap. That works. Now I tried some other stuff because I was like, well, not everybody's got 3D printers. So I tried some weed whacker string. No go. Okay, weed whacker string gets eaten by the HCl. Right, that was from an earlier test. I tried some nylon filament because I thought nylon is like badass in 3D printing. It stands up a little bit better. Okay, you can't really see that. It stands up a little bit better, but you have some degradation of this. So you don't. The Lawrence Laboratory paper doesn't include weed whacker string or nylon 3D printing filament. That's not a part of the ingredients. Okay, so we're not going to use these because they degrade in the hydrochloric acid. It's going to change your reaction. Okay, what we are going to use is PLA, which is the cheap one, okay? So there's your PLA. There's no change on that at all. It's exactly like when I put it in. It's been there for like an hour. We're not going to do a reaction for an hour. We're going to do a reaction for a very short time. We're going to be doing a reaction for a super short time. And so, you know, anything that would happen is now you're going to have as much for the reaction. Now, one thing, this is not covered. This is just a fucking open, an open fucking beaker right here. Can you see that shit? Yeah, that's a little better. This is an open beaker. So the only I prepared everything. All the solutions are pre-prepared to save time. All this shit that I'm talking about is just like background in case you're just wandering in this fucking video and you're like, what the fuck is this? We should probably figure out something to put on top of this, which I don't really have. Something, it has to have a hole in the center so that the fucking filament can come through. We may not need it, but we probably do. Now I did reduce this last time for the TNX synth. I was too lazy to change out the fucking bands on this cheap ass chink spinner machine here, but I changed out this time. So now we're at 750 RPM. Before I think we were at 1500 RPM, which is pretty high. It's pretty aggressive. You get a lot of splashing. Last time, a bunch of that material out of the solution splashed onto this thing. If you use a drill press or something, which is what most people are going to have, you need to be thorough about cleaning the shit because you can't be doing like multiple batches of this stuff and in between have material on your drill press. I did a lazy way, which is take a blowtorch to this entire thing and just deflagrated all the explosive material on there, which is pretty cool. This thing's so cheap I don't care about it, right? This is just like a throwaway press. So it's reduced down to 750 RPM. And that's what it looks like, okay? Now, because what I do with the wire, now I made a second one in case this bitch breaks, but this is PLA, and then I put some black tape on there where the chuck holds it, so this isn't brittle, by where the chuck is holding it, so it has some plasticity. So I just wrap that in black tape, and so that like one leg doesn't fall out, right? So I wrapped it in some black tape, some electrical tape, and I stick that up in the chuck. And that's how I have that PLA. This is a spare. If this thing breaks during the stirring and we need to do another one, I'm just going to grab a fucking hand drill and do it. That's my choice. We need to, what we'll do, this is what we'll do. We'll, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to move everything that we don't want to spill hydrochloric acid on. And we're just going to run this open top. So that's a scale. I don't want that there. Everything that I'm doing has been pre-measured here. So we don't have to prepare any of it. We don't have to prepare any of it on screen. I'm going to describe it to you so that you can get the gist of it. For the crushed ice, there's crushed ice in all these solutions. There's basically the Livermore process uses a 3-solution method. You have 3 pre-made solutions. They're chilled and fucking cold. They all use crushed ice. The way that I do for crushed ice is with a plastic bag with ice. I measure out the ice as ice cubes to go over, so I round up, and then I crush it. Okay, and then I usually, like these cheap ass cups, I use like little paper cups. And I'll just prepare, I'll write on it like solution 1. And I'll get all my shit lined up and then mix it all. Right now I've got it chilling in the fridge, and I'm breaking the fucking cardinal rule here. I got my ideas. So I'm breaking the cardinal rule. I've got the all the solutions in the fridge with refreshments. You don't want to do that, okay? So you don't want to mix your lab stuff with like your food stuff, okay? That's really bad. All this stuff, a lot of the stuff from this, aside from the hydrochloric acid, which is obviously hydrochloric, like you don't want to be getting that on you and shit, right? Like it'll burn the fuck out of you. But all this stuff is dangerous. So like sodium nitrite, which is the nitriding agent, it's used in like meat curing and shit. So it's like it doesn't seem that bad. But like if you consume, like a couple spoonfuls of sodium nitrite on accident or something like that, you can cause heart failure. So you typically all of your stuff, right? Because we're doing OTC shit and it's stuff that's around the house and stuff. Rule number 1, you don't make demo in the house, ever. Rule number 2, you assume that the fucking shit is gonna blow up at any second, okay? And you plan accordingly. You make it so that when that thing blows up, nobody's gonna lose their life. Nobody's gonna lose anything that they're not willing to lose, okay? Number 3, you don't mix the shit that you eat on and shit like that with this. That extends into like don't include people on your science experiment that don't want to be a part of the science experiment, okay? So like if you live in an apartment building, you should not be doing this shit. If somebody's above you where like off gas can come up, you don't want to be doing this shit. The HCl Livermore method, I haven't even done it. Obviously hydrochloric acid is fuming. It puts off fumes. So like there's going to be fumes in here. We're in a very unique kind of construction of the building where I just have open fucking vents at the top, and I got a gigantic fucking fan that I can run and turn on if we need to. Typically, I don't even do that. I just kind of stand back and let it roll. But just things to think about. Now, just so you get the idea, what I'm going to show you here, the way that I break this down, their paper, the Livermore Lab Syth basically looks like almost like a patent language, and it can be very cumbersome and is very disorganized. So, like I organize it, right? This is how I always do it. I'll take a complicated ass paper and make a couple of fucking cards, and then I staple this shit or whatever onto the front. Like I'll have a Syth book, throw this shit on the front for reference and shit, and then have an AAR at the back and be like, well, this thing was fucked up and they probably didn't even fucking do this because they just assumed or whatever. I'll write my notes in there and shit. So this is your Livermore Lab. If I can get it to focus. Motherfucker. Okay, there we go. This is your Livermore Lab solutions. So there's solution 1, then solution 2, then solution 3. You notice that all of them have crushed ice on it. It says ice. That's crushed ice. Okay? You've got water, H2O, on the first solution and the third solution. The middle solution is your acid solution. Okay? These are the amounts. Hopefully my handwriting isn't too fucked up. But that's the solutions right there. Okay, your yield, your crude yield is going to be 10 and a half grams. That's a 40% yield. And then you have a recrystallization from, you can use alcohol, ethyl alcohol, whatever. There's other things that it dissolves in. That's what they use in this. We're just gonna be copying this. This is the idea here is that like we tried to think too smart and fucked it all up. So we need a control synth to know what right looks like. So this is exactly like down to the hundredth of a gram and down to the milliliter. This is exactly what the synth is. And all this shit is chilling, probably colder than what the fucking paper calls for. The other thing, the Livermore Syth, it doesn't have any specification on temp. So extrapolating from other papers, you're really limited to about 10C. So once you start going above 10C for your reaction, you're going to start to have degradation. You get that dinitroso compound. The other thing that you should note, what we're going to see, we should see some foaming and separation. Underneath the foam is going to act like an umbrella to hold in nitrous acid, which is going to be, in solution, but also a gas. So like when you go to filter this and shit, especially if you're not completely reacted, it's just don't be surprised by it. You're going to see some like light reddish gas, like a very minor amount. Okay, that's the nitrous acid gas. Now here's the procedure. Okay, so here's the basic procedure. You have step 1. You're going to stir solution 1 in whatever your stirring apparatus is. Step 2, you're going to add solution 2 to solution 1. You're continuing to stir. While stirring, you're going to add solution 3 to the solution 1 plus 2. So this is just additive, stepwise, 1, 2, 3, right? At that point, we have a benchmark here that's mentioned in the paper. So we're going to be looking for observing a transition of a color change. We should see blue transition, then green transition, and then foam with a precipitate rising to the top. Judging from the last one, it should be an off-white whipped cream looking motherfucker. Okay, so after that, you allow it to stand for 30 minutes. And then you're gonna collect the solution and filtrate. Now, you really need to do this under a vacuum. If you don't do a vacuum, you're gonna be fucking waiting forever. So if you absolutely don't have a vacuum, that's fine. You can make a vacuum out of a syringe and a hose and like a ballpoint pen, like a shitty, like one of these. One of these right here, like one of these little shitty fucking turkey basters. You can slap a hose on here as long as you have the cap with it, and a ballpoint pen and a BB, like a 177 cal BB. These mosquitoes are ruthless, bro. He doesn't want to get hit. You can make a vacuum apparatus out of that. You just look it up. There's a video on YouTube where this non-English speaker does it. Pretty high speed shit. Okay. What else? So we're not gonna go to full recris because it's getting fucking late, and I don't want to stay up so late. Last night I stayed up way too late. So we're gonna go to the part where we have it stand for 30 minutes. I'm probably not gonna finish 30 minutes. We're gonna go to that. And then I'm going to chat with you guys for a minute. And then we're going to retire there. But after that, what you would do, you would do you would allow it to stand after you have your precipitation without stirring. You let it to stand for 30 minutes. Then you're going to, I'm trying to read it backwards. Collect the solution filtration, probably under vacuum. While you're doing that, you can wash with water. So that means like you have a funnel with some coffee filters, you spray it with water. You're trying to get the pH down. You typically want it to be neutral pH in your solution. It's like a pH of 7 in your solution that's coming down in your solution trap. That's filtering off, right? You want to get it down to like 7. And then you can check your actual material. Then you're going to air dry it. You're going to get 10.5. Then you're going to recrystallize with your alcohol. 95 milliliters is what they call for. You can figure that shit out if it's different or whatever. Again, I'm gonna show you one more time. This is the proportions and shit. Solution 1, solution 2, solution 3. 40% yield on Livermore is what we're looking for. If this is successful, then I'll go back. I mean, it will be. Then we'll go back and look at the citric method without any acetic acid, which should be which is probably hampering the yield on that. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay, I go kind of full retard on this stuff with protective gear. You probably don't do that, and you don't have to do it. You should just use your brain. I don't really want to. There's probably not a lot of people that like gear up for this. But if you're like, if you've never had demolition like detonate right next to you, or like fucking kill somebody next to you, then you know you can just shut the fuck up and watch. Okay. All right, we got solution. We got solution 1. Solution 2. That's a jar with a cap. You can use peanut butter jar lids for these. Okay. All right. I buy packs of like skewering sticks and shit. When you put this shit in the fridge, all this stuff had ice in it. I stir it out. You should check because it's been in there for a while. This one I'm gonna shake. See, we still got ice. This is hydrochloric acid with ice. Okay, that's why it's in a jar. If you put, I should say this, if you put hydrochloric acid in your fridge, you're gonna fucking coat your fridge in hydrochloric acid. Everything in there is getting hydrochloric acid. You need a totally fucking airtight sealed container. Now I'm gonna crack that so that if it heats up while we're doing this, you know, it's just smart to do. Okay. Don't be eating any food or drinking any drinks while you're doing Syth. All right, here we go. Fuck, that's not right. Okay. Procedure. We're gonna put we're gonna stir in solution 1. Solution 1 is 280 mils of water, H2O. That's distilled, not fucking tap, you crazy guy. It's distilled water. Okay, we got 280 milliliters. We got 21 grams of hexamine. All right, 21 grams. 120 grams of crushed ice in there. We're gonna check. Looks pretty good to me. It's already stirred up. We'll see how crazy this gets. You see that it's splashing up. So it's splashing up. We're gonna get fucking hydrochloric acid around here. So let's move shit. We're just gonna move shit out of the way, and we don't want to get dusted with fucking HCl. Okay, so that motherfucker is stirring. Now we're gonna add in solution 2 to solution 1. Solution 2 is hydrochloric acid. I'm turning that bitch off. I'm not gonna fucking do this while it's going. Okay, that's crazy. What are you insane? So at this point, there's not really any reaction. I mean, you have a little bit. You're gonna have a little bit of reaction. It's not gonna be that much. That first solution is 280 mil of water, 21 grams of hexamine, and 120 grams of ice. That second solution I just put in, 68 mil of hydrochloric acid and 200 grams of ice. Going in the dump bucket. Sweet dreams. Alright. Okay, so now we've got hydrochloric acid in there. We're gonna see how crazy this is. We just fucking lost the stir. That could be an issue. Serious issue. Yeah, that's a problem. Okay. So we're just gonna have to go, man. I wonder why that's happening. I mean, it was just working. Did we go off center? It's still solid in there. Okay, I think we've got a. I think it's too long. I mean, you never know what you're going to run into. I'm basically just like making this shit up as I go along. We'll try that. I took off about 1.5 inches. If that doesn't work, then we're going to go higher on the reaction vessel. And then see if we can stop that by raising it up and stuffing the fucking wire down in there. Okay, that appeared to work. So we're staying in the fucking jar now, okay? We are fucking splashing fucking sulfuric acid everywhere. We're gonna go get this shit going. So we're gonna add in solution number 3, and this is gonna make our nitrosamine. I can smell nitrous acid coming off already. It's strong. I'm holding my breath right now. Going in the dump bucket. I got splashed. Now you should see this motherfucker go. You should see it go green. I see green. Okay, that's what we're doing. We're looking for a bluish. I see a bluish. It's mostly green. We're looking for a green. That's blue. All right, I'm gonna raise it up. I got a tile. Alright, we're whipping this shit up. So it's whipping. You should see the color change that preceded. I'm behind bricks, so I'm not really looking at you. You can probably fucking see it better than me. I'm not popping over the bricks, okay? Not without the K-pop. So Lawrence Livermore says we should have seen blue transition, then green transition. I definitely saw some blue-green shit. I don't know what it was. I couldn't really tell. It's kind of like in the middle. It's like one of those mixture colors that you never remember the name of, like magenta or, well, I guess magenta's pretty normal, but there's some super greedy ones that like people in New York City and shit talk about. All right. We're back in it. 750 RPM appears to be a good, you want low RPM apparently. We do have precipitate forming. I'm going to go ahead and wash it down. I'm going to check our temp and I'm going to wash it down. We should be pretty cold. We're at 4C, okay? So we are well under the threshold there. Now, according to this, you get the blue-green transition, and then you get foam, and a precipitate rises to the surface. It doesn't say what the precipitate is supposed to be. It's probably not going to be blue-green foam. It's probably going to be white or off-white foam. Most likely off-white, because TNX is characterized as off-white, okay? So right now, I'm just using this to wash off the surface so we can get some of that precipitate down back in solution, okay? Not a lot of water, just a little bit of water. We still have a like a bluish greenish tint. So I'm just going to continue stirring. And I'm behind motherfucking bricks. Yes, the bricks will hurt, but they won't hurt as bad as the glass, okay? Now, the one thing that's a part of this experiment, we're just doing it on the fly, is that the PLA stirring material, I don't actually know what the compatibility of that is with nitrous acid, because nitrous acid is fairly uncommon. Because nitrous acid is usually made in situ, and so there's just not a lot of data on it, right? Meaning that like you don't get like a giant jug of nitrous acid, unlike nitric acid, which people have all over the place. Nitrous acid is just made from the nitrite, So there's not a lot of data. We don't know exactly how that's gonna forbidden cool. That's what we're going for. So I don't know how that's gonna work out with the fucking PLA filament. But so far, I mean, that's working like a boss. Like, I can see through the fucking film camera that shit is whipping up. Like, we are kitchen whipping right now. And it's doing a good job. Okay? Okay, so we've lost a little bit of green color. That's not right. We're at 16. Okay? So the reaction is heating it up. Sorry, the reaction is heating it up. All right, we are getting stirring at the bottom. I'm going to back off from here.